Hello and welcome to the Venus Flytrap podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Paul Edwards, and today we are going to be talking about the one mistake that destroys more relationships than even betrayal. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So let's get started.
A tailored suit in a London rain. He built an empire to mask the pain. A self-made man with a heart and heart, watching the world from a place apart. Then she walked in like a sudden blade, in the midnight heat where the shadows played. A fallen heiress with a rebel soul, ready to take back all control. She lived by no rules but her own desire, wrapping his life in a ring of fire. An international ghost of a golden age, stepping back onto the center stage. Oh, the Venus flytrap.
Okay, so what is this one mistake that people make in relationships that is worse or destroys more relationships than betrayal? And the answer is complacency. What happens is in a lot of relationships, not all, but many, when you get together, you have the honeymoon period, everything is perfect. You do everything perfectly for each other. You know, you open the door for her when you're going into a restaurant or you're getting her in the car. I know, ladies, some of you say, I don't even like that. Well, shut up for a minute because look, it's a way for a man to show respect and appreciation, right? So don't take those things away, right? Why not let him treat you like the princess that you really want to be, right? Showing respect and appreciation. But my point is this complacency. What I mean by that is not doing the things you did when you first got together that made her fall in love with you or him fall in love with you. It works both ways. Most people do this, right? So you've got to continue to work at the relationship. Very often you get past the honeymoon period and you get settled in, you become complacent. You stop doing the things you did when you first got together that made you fall in love with each other. Things like, going on a date night, take her out, show her off, take him out, show him off, right? People love attention and they love to feel appreciated. They want to, women want to feel like the man really adores her and wants to take her out and show her off, right? And men enjoy going out with a beautiful woman, going to dinner, having a nice time. That's what you did when you first got together. Seems to be a theme going on here, right? Okay. So make sure you notice her. Don't take her for granted. Notice if she's wearing a nice new cardigan or she's wearing a scarf or, just tell her she looks beautiful. Even if she does, I'm kidding. She looks beautiful. Tell her she looks beautiful. Otherwise, what does she say? He never says I look beautiful anyway. So why would I even bother getting ready for him? Why would I bother even, putting makeup on? Why would I bother even looking nice for him? Because he never appreciates it. Right. And then the guy starts thinking, well, she used to do that when we got together. She does it when she goes to work. She does it when she even goes to the store, but she won't do it for me. These are cracks that will become wider and wider and wider. And this is more destructive than betrayal. Not that betrayal isn't destructive, but this is even worse, right? And we don't see it coming, right? So listen to each other, right? Now, women tend to be more sensitive to being listened to than men, but men want to be listened to as well. They want to know you're listening to them, you're paying attention to them and what they feel and what they think. More what they think is valued, right? Women want to feel like the man is going to listen to her, not fix anything. She doesn't need anybody to fix it unless she asks, right? If she asks, then it's a different story, right? But usually when women are just venting, they like to talk, they'll talk it out, they'll come to their own conclusion. So just be a good listener. Doesn't mean you can't ask questions. Being a good listener is more about active listening than it is just, pretending you're paying attention, right? So listening is a skill that most people forget, right? So listening and asking questions. All right. Well, what did she say after that? Or what did he do after that? Oh, okay. Right. Be an active and active listener. All right. So, you know, Men are taught to fix everything, right? That's just what goes on for most men. They're growing up, they got to fix it, right? And so they want to fix things for their woman. They want to fix the problems. They also want to fix the woman sometimes, right? I had this syndrome of rescue, save, and fix. Well, that might have worked in the 1960s, but it doesn't work in the 2026s, right? So, unless a woman asks for your help, she doesn't need it. And men don't like to be helped because they want to feel like they're a man, that they're the person that's going to fix everything. Well, sometimes you got to be vulnerable and you got to listen to women. You got to let them guide you a little bit. You got to let them help you sometimes, right? So, go on walks. Get the passion back in your relationship. Have sexy time when you get dressed up or you do something different. You go to a motel, you go to a bar and pretend to pick her up. And she's going to give you a hard time, but it's okay. It's all part of the fun and games. You got to make the life adventurous and exciting. You probably picked her up in the first place, right? You had a line that she loved or whatever it was, but it's part of the fantasy. It's part of the adventure. So keep doing the things you did when you got together, because if you don't, eventually all the love, all the excitement, and all the passion is going to go away, and it's going to it's going to go through the process of erosion. It doesn't happen overnight. It can happen over a long period of time. But um, things like supporting each other, appreciating each other that you did in the beginning. Don't go out and talk about your partner with other people, your friends or relatives. That's just corrosive, destructive, right? And then those other people stop liking your spouse, right? And then it shows up in their communication. And then what the hell's going on here, right? Be loving, be kind, be appreciative. Make sure she knows you adore her, and make sure he knows you admire him. Because if you don't, they're going to go find someone who will. And you all heard of that website, Ashley Madison, right? I don't even know it's still out, right? But I know it was, right? Where people go on there to basically cheat on their partner, whether they're married or their spouse, right? And they said a sort of statistic that said about 60 million people were subscribed to Ashley Madison. Do you realize that's almost everybody that's in a relationship? That's insane. What does that prove? It proves if you're not on there, you need to get on there. What it proves is people are not getting what they need from relationships, but they were. So what has changed is complacency. Not doing the things that you did when you first got together. So I'm going to give you what are called the 5 love languages. You've heard of these before, right? But write them down. Or if you want, write them down. Either way, write them down. And make sure you are doing these things for your spouse. Not necessarily all 5, but find out what their love language is. It's pretty simple to do. You can go online and do it, right? And it'll tell you, she's probably going to prefer words of affirmations and receiving gifts. Those are probably the 2 major ones. That might be the 2 major ones for her. But the 5, here we go. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So first, words of affirmation. Verbal encouragement. Babe, you're doing great. I'm so proud of you. Give her compliments. You look beautiful tonight. You do that really well. I really appreciate that you did that for me today. Thank you. So kind words, verbal encouragement. The next one, number 2, acts of service. Right. So making dinner. She makes dinner. Appreciate her for that, but also making dinner. Sometimes make dinner for her. You got to be careful with that, right? I mean, it depends what you're going to make. You don't get to be overzealous and make her something that she hates, right? So running errands, that's an act of service, right? But again, if she runs an errand for you, she goes to pick up your dry cleaning, don't just take the dry cleaning and go, okay, I've got to put this on. Appreciate it, right? But do acts of service for each other. You could just be Sunday morning and you go make her a cup of coffee or make a cup of tea. Maybe you make her some breakfast and you bring it to her in bed, just out of nowhere. She's going to love it. And vice versa, right? Helping around the house. Just start doing some chores. Here's something I've noticed about women. They don't want to ask you to do it. They just want you to do it, right? They don't want to feel like they're asking you. One of the funny things that happens, I'll notice this like Sunday afternoon, all the guys are watching football in the living room, and the women are in the kitchen cooking and doing stuff. And then the women will say, he never helps me. He never comes in here and does a thing, right? Well, here's why. He comes in there. Do you need any help? No, no, no. We got it. Go watch football. Okay, I will, right? You told them, you set it up. We teach people how to treat us. So sometimes, maybe if they say, do you need any help? Say, yeah. Could you take the trash out? Yeah. Could you clean the dishes? Yeah. Could you do whatever? Could you set the table? Get them involved. And or you guys have got to, be proactive. Don't set it up so your wife is going to say, no, 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 I got it. Just start doing stuff. Get the Hoover out, Hoover, the vacuum, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. You get it out, you just start doing it. All right. She's going to appreciate that. She didn't have to tell you to do it. You didn't have to ask and her tell you go do that. You did it anyway. I'm telling you, more powerful. Listen to me, right? So, and then receiving gifts. Well, we all know women love gifts, right? Why wouldn't they, right? So buy her. It doesn't have to be like a new, Hermes $50,000 bag, although that would be nice. Just little gifts, something that she knows that you've given. Oops, you put some thought into. It doesn't have to be big, but it makes her feel appreciated and that you are spending money. And the general perception of women is if he'll spend money on you, he really likes you. And hopefully he loves you. All right. And then physical touch. So just grab her ass, man. That might be one way, but it also might be another way is maybe hold her hand, right? Give her hugs, right? Give her a hug when you come home. Hey, babe, how you doing? So happy to see you. It's been a rough day, or, cuddling in bed, right? Obviously, kissing, right, would be pretty good. But just any kind of affectionate touch goes a long way. Yes, I know you can take that to an extreme, but that's up to you. All right, and then the fifth one is quality time. Spending time together, giving her your undivided attention, giving him your undivided attention, sharing experiences. My mom always used to say to me, Stephen, life is about memories. You can lose everything else, but you'll never lose those memories of the time you spent together. My mom was pretty smart. Anyway, going for walks, having meaningful conversations. So I think of funny things in my head when I say this stuff. Like I just imagine a guy like saying to them, "Did you see the game on Sunday?" That might not be the meaningful conversation I'm talking about. I mean, talking about life and what's going on in the world, something meaningful, because that brings intimacy, right? And intimacy is not something found in the bedroom. It's found outside of the bedroom. It's acted out in the bedroom, right? So, and enjoy having a date with them without any distractions. But whatever you do, and I would suggest you do something, do not get complacent. Make sure that you do the things you did when you first got together. Make sure you show them that you appreciate them, that you adore her and you admire him, because those are the foundations of a solid relationship. And not doing those is the one mistake that destroys more relationships than betrayal. So, I don't have anything really ready here to read to you. I don't have a piece of sultry, or do I? Well, let's just see here. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to read this one. Why? Because I can. All right. So this one is really, it's a piece of sultry, which you all know what sultry is now. And if you don't, go back and listen and watch previous podcasts. Anyway, this piece of sultry is called B. I don't even know if it really fits right now, but I just found this. I thought I'm going to read it. All right. So take a deep breath. Gently close your eyes. I know I still have mine open because I got to read. All right. So close your eyes. All right. Close your eyes and then let that breath out from your heart. Another deep breath in. Okay. Put your feet on the floor, your hands somewhere comfortable. Let it out. And this is called B. We live alone together in a world of pleasure and pain. Every day brings a sunrise, a sunset, most sunshine and rain. Every experience is different, yet we are really all the same. We are apart in a sense, but now we are remembering again. So hold my hand and let me know that you remember me. Do you want to live in a world of peace, and love, peace, and harmony? It's time to feel the rapture of being, to set our spirit free. It's time to stop living to work and allow yourself to be. It may sound crazy. You might think you have a lot to lose. So get out of your mind. Your reality is the one you chose. Just trust the feelings guiding you straight from your heart, the divine guidance that has been there right from the start. So hold my hand and let me know that you remember me. Do you want to live in a world of love, peace, and harmony? It's time to feel the rapture of being, to set your spirit free. It's time to stop living to work and allow yourself to be. You know all the answers, so don't say that you don't know. Your intuition will guide you safely in the direction you wish to go. If we journey inside, we will find true love or we'll go without. We must remind each other of that we are one until there is no doubt. Rather nice. Yeah, well, that brings me to another conversation. We're talking about how the Venus Flytrap book is a catalyst, right? Many people will call a toxic relationship with the beautiful Tamaz, right? Who was extraordinary and is extraordinary, is the love of my life, my heroine, my addiction, and also my destroyer, right? So it was a catalyst. You know, I wrote the book, which is funny, it's beautiful, it's hilarious, it's tragic. It's the story of me going through, what I now call a Venus flytrap relationship, right? Or a toxic relationship. And the amazing, profound lessons I learned from it, which makes me say, really, you may think of a toxic relationship is happening to you, and it's not true. It's happening for you if you're prepared to look at the mirrors of yourself that are in there and the lessons that you need to learn to move to the next level of consciousness in your life. And that's been a catalyst for me to then take that a step further and really create a philosophy called heartism, right? Which teaches you how to be a heartist, how to live from your heart. And ancient said, speak from your heart, live from your heart. If something is true, it will be heartfelt. And I believe the evolution of consciousness as we go forward now, as a race of the human race, is going to be connecting with our heart because we just can't keep up with reality by thinking everything through. It's too slow. When we feel it through our intuition, it's instant. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to say because I'm psychic, right? You're going to say, but Stephen, we've been told all our lives to never trust our feelings. And there's a point of that. That's a good point, right? So we have to be able to recognize our feelings. Like you read a book, you got to read your feelings. And one of the ways you do that is the first question you ask, is that feeling coming from fear or is it coming from love? And that's a good guideline, right? So some people say, I was told to, shoot everybody in school. No, you weren't. You thought of doing that, right? That's a fear-based thought, isn't it? There's nothing loving about that, right? So love will never tell you to do anything destructive, never tell you to hurt anybody or yourself, right? So that's a good way to check in if the feeling is valid and it's a feeling you want to go by, right? But we have an intuition. Everybody does. Stephen, listen, I don't have it. Yes, you do, but you're just not tuned into it. If I was to just give you a violin right now and say, let's say, go ahead, play me a song, play me a symphony. Well, you're probably not going to be very good, right? But over time, if you practice, perfect practice, right? You're probably going to become really good because you now can feel the strings, right? The strings of the bow, the strings of the violin, and you become very sensitive to that touch and you tune in, right? Well, we need to tune into our intuition. It's like a fine, beautiful violin, and you have to start to practice using your intuition. And you're going to screw up. To start with, you're not going to play a violin perfectly, right? you're going to do that over time. And the same thing with your intuition. But begin now because it's going to become very important as we go forward, which is why I've created this philosophy of heartism. And I'm teaching people how to become a heartist. Hi, listen, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're here to make a public service announcement. If you're enjoying this conversation, which I know you are, right? Because if you say no, you probably lie about other things too, right? So if you're enjoying this, which I really do hope that you are, please take a moment to follow or hit the subscribe button and the like button so you never miss an episode. Let's get back to the conversation. Huh? Yeah, because here's the thing. We've all got creative gifts. All of us, yes. Everybody. Without exception? Yes, without exception. I don't know what mine are. Well, we're going to maybe help you figure it out because we're all given gifts, God given gifts, right? And so part of our response ability, our ability to respond, is to give them away, to contribute to this life. And people go, well, people can already play a guitar. Yeah, but not like you. They don't play it the same way, right? You will play it a little differently. You'll play a little bit of a different song because you are part of the one song, the universe. But within that song, you also have a unique sound that makes the perfect sound of the universe. Now, so when you get into doing that, you get into your intuition and you get into giving your gifts, and you're doing it from the heart, and you're doing this from your heart, and you are sharing your art. You're an artist. And that's what life is about, becoming an artist. Now, it's a journey again, right? So I'm creating a philosophy. I've created this philosophy, which you're going to be hearing more about. Very shortly, we're going to get into the evolution of consciousness. Well, first of all, we've got to know what the consciousness is, right? We've got to map out the consciousness. We've got to figure out where are we on this journey of conscious evolution? Where am I now? And what do I need to do to go further up that consciousness? I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to share that wisdom with you. But to me, what's more important than, I don't want to create a bunch of followers just because you're a pain in the ass, right? I don't need that, right? What I want to do and I'm doing is creating a philosophy. Why? Because a good philosophy doesn't need a person. I'm busy, man. I don't have time to run around after you all the time solving all your problems. So a philosophy doesn't need a person. And so it's eternal, right? So my focus is to share eternal truths that can make a profound difference in your life. That as you learn them, you become self sufficient. You don't need to ask me about something or any other person, right? The answers are all contained within the philosophy. I know, genius, right? So I keep my freedom. And the other thing is, when, when it becomes about a person, it's only going to go one way. At some point, people are going to go, I don't like him anymore, or he makes a mistake, or he's not doing everything he says to do. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't do it all. I'm working on it too. Part of me sharing this, or you say teaching it if you want, is because I need to learn it too. And it's a constant reinforcement for me too. So we're on this journey together. We're both travelers along this journey. And I will learn from you. And hopefully you'll learn from me. And we'll share the journey. Sometimes you'll be ahead of me. Sometimes you might be behind me. Sometimes we're going to be side by side. It's okay. But we're all human beings. We're all on a journey. We've all got our frailties. Some people might call them faults. Not mine. Mine are just frailties. Okay, let's calm down. All right. And I'll be sharing with you those things. And we're going to start out with a map of consciousness. So we'll be doing that soon. All right. Once I get it together, right? We got the presentation of it together. I got it together. I know what it is, right? I'm going to be sharing it with you. It's pretty profound. So that we're going to be learning, and I've talked about this before, about vibration, right? Everything is created from vibration. Yes, even you. We're all created from this energy, the energy field that flows through everything. Everything is energy and everything is vibration. Well, the different states of consciousness, from fear to enlightenment, have a certain vibration. And so we can measure it, and I'll tell you about how you do that, so that we can see where we are on the spectrum. Right? I'm going to talk a lot about spectrums, right? We're all on the spectrum of insanity, right? Or you might want to call it sanity, but gets more attention if I call it insanity. We live in an insane world. I'll prove it to you. It's totally insane. There's nothing sane about the world we live in. So if we want to live in a sane world, we got to change it. And to live in a sane world and to change it, we've got to be more conscious. We've got to be part of the conscious evolution. So we're going to be able to figure out where we are, where we want to go, and bridge it, right? Because we're all a different place on the spectrum, right? So we can serve each other collectively and also individually. And that's the focus. All right. So I've read you some sultry. Now, the other thing I want to remind you about, it's very important to write this down. Hit the like button, right? Hit the subscribe button so we can keep getting this information out to you so then you can share it with other people and that we can make the world a better place. Because once we get the actual goal of all this is so we can all remember who we really are. Because once we've done that, there'll be no war. There'll be no fighting over what we think are finite things. We will have abundance within us and it'll be reflected outside of us. We won't fight our neighbors for things because we'll understand something you've heard many, many times. But you've heard it so many times, no, this is stupid. Well, it is kind of, but it's so obvious that we all came from the same place and we're all going back to the same place. We all came from the light. We are all the light. The light is the creative force that flows through everything that many people call God. Some people don't, whatever you call it, Bill, Fred, whatever you want to call it. That's who we are. And if we're all from the same place, we're all made of the same stuff, then aren't we connected? There is this idea of separation, which is a new word. You might want to, look it up in the dictionary if you want to just waste some time. Separation is an illusion. It's not true. We're all part of the oneness that we came from. Now, why is that important? Because if there's only you in the room, actually it's me. It's only me in the room. But anyway, if there's only one of us in the room, then why would you want to fight yourself? You wouldn't see someone punching themselves and stealing from themselves and going to war with themselves, would you? I mean, would you? Well, not if they're sane and they understand that. No. Okay. So everybody says, oh, just won the beauty pageant. And what do they say? Well, what do you want to do? I want peace on earth, right? Well, good. Create it in yourself first. And I've used this analogy a number of times. Barbara Streisand, she had a concert at Madison Square Garden. I wasn't there, but this is what I was told. At one point, when the artist usually has a minute, and they talk with the audience, right? And at one point, she said, everybody wants to change the world. But the reality is the only person you can really change is yourself. But when you change yourself in a positive way, it instantly changes the rest of the world because the consciousness shifts. We're all part of the same consciousness. Some people say, I know that. All right, well, tell other people, will you? Would you spread the word like I'm trying to do? Because the sooner that we get to that point, we've consciously evolved to the point where we're all aware of who we really are, man, life is going to get so much easier. I mean, how many of you, by raise a hand, which means like that, how many of you are sick and tired of being sick and tired? Damn, that's a lot of hands. So let's change it. We can change it together. We're on that journey together. If I get there and you don't, that doesn't really help. It helps a little bit, right? But the bottom line is the sooner we all get on the same page, the sooner we can stop this madness, this chaos, this suffering. 30,000 men, women, and children die every day of starvation and lack, right? How crazy is that? How can people die of starvation on a planet where there's more than enough to feed every soul on earth? I mean, there's got to be pretty much close to that in the food that we throw away every day in the United States. It's insane, right? There's plenty for everybody. What we've got to do is pool the resources and use them practically, not as a means to enrich a very small percentage of the population on the planet. That's a big problem. And we're going to be talking about that in Quantum Wealth. I know. We think of everything. It's just who we are. So listen, wishing you love and light. In fact, what I tell people sometimes is, pack light and spread love. Pretty good, right? And walk with heart. And always remember that nothing happens to you, everything happens for you.
Let's go. Spiritual sparkle in a world of gray, finding the truth in the disarray. It's a raw confession of a life lived fast, breaking the chains of a heavy past, from the erotic spirit to the soul's rebirth, finding what a human life is really worth. Sex, lies, and the repercussions stay as we dance the final act away. Just a true story of a love so deep, promises that we could never keep. In the garden of the trap we lay, waiting for the break of a brand